welcome to Movie Review Mom. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. And if you're brand new, hey, I'm so glad you finally found my YouTube channel. Normally, I do movie reviews and trailer reactions and documentary analysis. But today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm participating in a top 10 challenge. So another YouTuber invited me to participate in this challenge. Check out the YouTube channel called Pierce Productions and see which movies he listed as his top 10. He's the one that challenged me. And so I'm going to give you another top 10 list from my perspective, and then I'm going to challenge some other YouTubers. One thing I love about YouTube is it's really fun to meet other YouTubers who are creating fun channels and share ideas and stuff with each other and with you at the same time. All right, so you ready for my list? Now, this was hard for me because I love movies, as you know, and so let me know what your top 10 are. Comment down below and let me know if you agree or disagree or just other categories that you would love for me to include in another top 10 list. So this might seem totally random. These are not in any order. I just was writing things down and actually wrote down more than 10 categories. And so I'll probably have to do a different video to add more categories. But these are the top ones that I came up with. And by the way, people always ask me, as a film critic, what's your favorite movie of all time? And my answer is always, I don't know, because I love so many movies. So it's easier to put these into categories. Okay, enough chit chat. Here's the list. I started, I don't know why, with my favorite World War II movie. And that is Saving Private Ryan. It is so powerful. It is hardcore rated R. I have a son who's in the military, and when he and my other children were growing up, I never let them watch rated R movies. And so when he started saying, he was getting ready to go to college and wanted to do ROTC in college, I said, I support your desire. I absolutely am a patriot. Thank you for being the type of young man who wants to serve his fellow men. That's awesome. But you have to watch Saving Private Ryan. And that was I think the first rated R movie he had ever seen. And wasn't to discourage him, but to let him know what the reality of war is, because I know a lot of young guys can sort of romanticize going into the military and that kind of thing. Well, now he's an officer in the Army and does amazing things and loves it. And so I'm really proud of him. But I think that movie is so powerful. It's got the action, that's for sure, but it has a very personal story at its heart and characters that you instantly can relate to or fall in love with and experience that character growth with. Anyway, I could talk all day long about that movie. It's really fantastic. My favorite Holocaust movie. Who has a favorite Holocaust movie? And it's very closely tied to World War II movies, isn't it? But it's different. It's called Life is Beautiful. It's an Italian movie and just ripped my heart out. So well done. And it's in Italian, or at least when I saw it in the theater many years ago, it was in Italian with English subtitles. And there's a little boy who's featured in the movie. And I had a son who was the same age as this little boy, who happens to be a Jewish boy. And the father is able to kind of sneak him in to the concentration camp when he gets thrown in the concentration camp. And he does so much to protect his son. And it's, again, so heartbreaking. But what's amazing is the movie starts off as a romantic comedy and then takes this dark turn. However, it's very playful as the father tries to protect his son from the horrors. And then one thing that I loved is I got so immersed in the story, I forgot I was reading subtitles. And then there's a moment where you hear American soldiers and you hear English, and it is so startling. And you're like, oh, wow, I've been watching a foreign flick, Anyway, it's amazing. So check that one out if you haven't seen it. Now, similarly, my favorite prison movie is Shawshank Redemption. And it really probably is in the top 5 of all time of my favorite movies. It's so well done. Such great, rich characters, stories. There's just so many layers of depth to it. And of course, there's this narrator character who's played by Morgan Freeman. So that alone, makes it awesome. But I don't know, there's so many great quotable lines, so many powerful insights. It's just so, so fantastic. Definitely add that to your list if you haven't seen that before. My favorite trilogy of all time is The Lord of the Rings. And it's I tried to read the books years ago, probably back when I was in high school, and couldn't get through it. It just, I don't know why. It was difficult language for me, I guess, as a young girl, and I just couldn't get into it. But when the movies came out, I grabbed one of my sons and said, let's go watch this. That'll save us a ton of time. We won't have to read all the books, not knowing that the movies were going to be a trilogy. I thought I was just going to see the whole story, in one movie. We completely got sucked in. Of course, my boys were obsessed. I was obsessed. It's so well done. And the Return of the King, the third in that trilogy, by far is my favorite. There's romance. There's a sense of epicness and history. There's humor and comedy and action and so much for everyone, something for everyone. So, so well done. Good and evil, and so many characters that are symbols of heroism, so much symbolism in the movie. Love, love, love that trilogy. My favorite Marvel movie is probably Guardians of the Galaxy. That very first one was the first time I had been in a theater and watched an Avengers movie where the audience was just rolling on the floor, loving every minute, catching all of the little details and the subtle humor as well as the obvious humor. And it kind of seemed like that was when Marvel turned and recognized that audiences wanted to laugh along with having adventure and action. And a lot of their movies ever since have leaned that way. Now, if you've seen the recent Thor movie, I think it might have pushed it a little too far on the humor, where it kind of seemed more like a parody of a superhero movie than a real superhero movie with well done comedy. Anyway, I've got a whole review about that. My favorite family movie series, my categories are kind of open, aren't they, is the Harry Potter movies. I mean, how many of them are there? 40 now? No, I'm just kidding. But those are movies that you can watch with a family, and everybody can appreciate the characters, the story, the symbolism, the adventure, the action, the romance, the humor, the creativity and imagination, all of that. And of course, even my husband and I, when our kids weren't watching the movies, we were watching them and had to go. And we went down to Florida to Universal Studios and saw, all the Harry Potter in one of the Universal Studio. Was it Universal Studios? Yeah, I think, right? Yeah. And then paid the extra ticket to go next door to see the rest of the Harry Potter stuff. Anyway, who's not obsessed with Harry Potter? My favorite romance was Tricky. The first movie that came to my mind is an old one called Somewhere in Time. Just beautiful and captures that magic of true romance and time travel and the handsome Christopher Reeve. And it was just such a beautiful movie. I was dating a guy in college and got swept away with that movie with him. So maybe it's the part of the memory of all of that. I don't know. Check that one out. Like I said, it's an older one. Back in the 80s, I guess it was. My favorite comedy might be Groundhog Day. And this is also another old one from the 80s. And I love it because it's hilarious, but it also has some really great life lessons, believe it or not, with Bill Murray. It's such a great classic, and my family still quotes lines from that one. Now, I don't know, has that been 10 categories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay. My 10th category is horror, which surprises me because I don't really like horror. So this isn't like slasher, bloody, and all that kind of stuff. It's sort of a mysterious horror, but not as gross and gory as a lot of the horror stuff is. It's called The Skeleton Key with Kate Hudson. And it's The first horror movie that I saw that I really got into, because again, it wasn't all horror / monsters and all that kind of stuff. It was more of a psychological thriller type. Check that one out if you haven't seen it. And then, oh no, I want to tell you more. My favorite animation might be either the very first Toy Story or The Incredibles. Love those. My favorite Western, The Three Amigos. Come on. And then maybe my favorite quirky movie might be Nacho Libre. Okay, that was more than 10. All right, so comment down below. Let me know if you've seen those, if you also are a big fan and love those, or if you maybe want to point out some that I forgot to mention. All right, so now I want to throw out this challenge to some other YouTubers who I think might get a kick out of this. The first one is a movie reviewer named Xander Darko. So I want to hear your top 10 categories. And then another one I want to invite to this fun challenge is Ty Jensen. We hang out in several Facebook groups and share our movie reviews. And another one is Dan Cook. I would love for all of us to get together and do a movie review about one movie, or I don't know, just talk about movies, because I think that that's so much fun. All right, and the last one I want to invite to this challenge is Chris Zweig. So comment down below, you guys, see if you're gonna participate. Let me know. Give me a shout out so that I know when you posted your top 10. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and let's go watch another movie. Bye for now.